This conference will now be recorded.
I think maybe we call you by phone to see where is the challenge, because I see myself moving the camera, but I can't move the slide as I could before. No, we just get the sound. Yeah. So I think, should we start from the beginning, or I think we can go. Oh yeah, now we move. No. Yes. So the next slide is, anyway, the action plan is very simple. You'll see the PowerPoint, and whatever things are in the form of video, and whatever are in the form of documents, Kerlin photography, whatever things of Kutee praveshika Rasayana, they all are in this website that you can see. It's all yours. It's there for a while, and I'll be very glad to share the experience under my mentor's guidance that happened to me. So it all come now quickly. Next, please. Or should we be moving? Okay, I can move it. Anyway, since majority of you are either final years or interns or young doctors, it's something off the track question. What is your worth for yourself and to the society? And where do you see yourself 100 days from now, or 1,000 days from now, more precisely? And how much should you be your per hour earning? Nothing to do with the specific Rasayana topic, but I think it's a good question to ask yourself when you are in the final year and reaching towards internship. So anyway, I'm here because way back in 2002, one Dr. K. Shankaran, who was director of Ayurveda medical education, he first introduced me to this concept in a practical manner. Somewhere in 2002, I was doing internship, last stage of my internship, and I always say that whatever we are and whatever we hope to be, we owe it to our family and to our real mentors. So this is dedicated to him, because I speak what he left to be spoken, but he had an earlier demise. So I think now we get into the next PowerPoint. This is easy. Vishnu, I think I'm not used to the current. I'm not used to this this specific platform. It's mostly Zoom that I have been able to do easily. Yeah. So now we get into my journey, and why I say that my journey, and then we'll come to the video of what Kutee praveshika Rasayana would look like, because then we can space it between. But it's very important to realize that if you ever want to do it on yourself, you need to have certain preparation, and you need to make your own journey on that. And if you want to do it on your patient, obviously you have to do it on yourself first. It cannot be a situation where the patient asks you, doctor, have you done on yourself ever? The answer is no. Then how do we justify the same therapy being done to the patient? So this is very tricky area. It all starts, for me, it all starts with Tapasvi Ji Maharaj, who lived 185 years. And this book is written by a magistrate of the British time, Sri Anantamurthy. So he is a real person, and he was born, as you can see here, and I've highlighted the area in yellow color, in 1770. Ekadashi, somewhere in what is called as Patiala now. Patiala. He was born in Patiala. So he's a real historical figure. And he did live 185 years before he had Samadhi. And you have the ISBN. If anyone ever wants to have the book to read, you may be getting convinced. And then you see the photo of him of 1952. 1952. So this is when he was 182 years old. So, I mean, well, I don't know if it was a Tridoshaja temperament of Prakriti body-wise, but anyway, he is a known figure, and he did Kutee praveshika Rasayana on him multiple times. And the first time he did was at the age of, I think it was 90. I don't exactly remember. And how he got better and he received another 40 years youthfulness. But I must also say he was a regular yoga person, very, very big yogi. So let us keep that idea also in our mind. So why I'm telling you this, my own story, we'll get into the videos of Kutee Praveshika Rasayana. We will get into how the Kutee looks like. We'll get into the specifics that were done. Everything is there. And we will even share the common questions I had encountered before. Everything we have time. You will have easy time. Somewhere in 2002, I was a young enthusiast. Somewhere I was in Cortical at that point doing my internship. And then somewhere in 2014, I decided to take a risky step. Most of my friends call me Maverick. I'm happy for that, whatever they call me. But it's a risky process. This is what first I have to communicate to you. And I think these many years and conveyed this message and experience to so many doctors. I think this has a good potential to be a major leap for the community in KPR specific from 2020. And let us see how it goes further. So the first thing is, of course, Dr. K. Shankaran. He gave me the first tiny glimpse. And I will be sharing the case report that he had presented in many venues that will come here. How you will see a case of asemnia, not even azoospermia, not oligospermia, asemnia patient totally getting better, and you will see that. It was done in Raja Healthy Acres, and that's where I realized the magnitude of its impact. And in 2008, he did hand me over the minutest details. It was a classified information. It belonged to an institution, of course, but he said, boy, keep it with you. Two of us were selected by him. One of them is Dr. Sreejit S P. He is now Swasthavrta lecturer, professor in Ayurveda College, Government Ayurveda College. Currently, I think he is in Trivandrum. So Dr. K. Shankaran sir, gave all the details that was done to the minutest details so that anyone can copy, paste, and do it. I don't know why this question mark comes, but that was not the case when we prepared it yesterday. But anyway, demise of Dr. Shankaran sir was a big blow because he was the only person who had so much of documents with him to support. But then, when the student is ready and really ready, the teacher appears. And this is actually the license that happened through Dr. K. Aparna. She's a PhD herself and daughter of my mentor, DMO Wayanad, retired Dr. K. Padmanabhan sir, who tells me about Dr. Vidyapeedham. And why I say this to you, when you have so much of hope, do something. When your efforts are there to find somebody who can guide you, if your intention is true and if your intensity of efforts is strong, you get the ray of hope, you get a message, you get somebody who will help you. And this you can keep not only for Kutee Praveshika Rasayana in your mind, it also comes to the what we call as general practice also. And then we went to Kumta 2020, the train to Kumta. It was a great welcome, an utmost clarity of the subject by Dr. Avirat Kadle sir, and I've mentioned the name of my friends, Dr. Sajeev, Dr. Chandramohan, Dr. Rajesh Kramer of the ISM Department Ayurveda. And we had the first direct feel of how a Kutee would be. And it's all uploaded in my website. If you look into my website, I will show you also how to browse my website so that you get an easy understanding of the entire process. So I just decided 2013 decision to put myself to the unexplored, unpredictable. The word is unpredictable. You see, when you have at least panchakarma kind of procedures, you at least have a predictability of this is what the body undergoes and this is what it responds like and this is the outcome in the short term and the long term. But in case of Kutee, there is nothing you can promise to a patient. So this is first thing that you have to learn. And obviously it was one of the biggest risks in my life because put off somewhere, total darkness, no contact with people other than the person who brings the medicine. You don't have a WhatsApp, a Facebook, your family, no phone calls, no reading. I mean, it's not fun being inside there. but I thought I'll give a shot. My wife even said, God forbid, if you're getting nuts and crazy, just walk out. So that's a big risk involved when you do on yourself. Of course, the risk is compounded in the case of a patient also. But then now you look into the Duta Lakshana or Rishta Lakshana, whatever you may call for the right kind of signals. I had my share of auspicious omen in the bank while depositing money, making advance. There was somebody, I was about to go to the counter to pay the money, and I believe in omens, like most of us do. And there was a lady who was igniting the velaka, that the light diya. She was igniting it. So I said, God, nice. It looks good so far, so good. But then in 2013 November, there was a very interesting situation. I went to help somebody, and I showed my Grahanala only because I had taken Grahanala of somebody, of a cancer patient of pancreas. She was dying anyway, most likely. So I showed her her Grahanala, that Kundli, as you may say, in North India. And I was told that between the month of February middle and March last, or nearly 60 days, Feb and March, I'll be totally crazy and cranky, and I'll be nuts. And interestingly, this astrologer had no clue that I was going for this process. And even my parents did not know, except my sister, my wife. Nobody had any idea because we kept it kind of secret and easy. So I was really like, oh God, am I going nuts there? And he did tell me certain pariharas, homa, Japan, such things. It was done. And interestingly, exactly 90 days of the completion of this homa, when the homa was done, and then 90 days later, I started feeling stabilized and grounded in the Kutee. And then Panchakarma was done. In spite of working 12 hours a day, I did back-to-back Snehapana. So what I'm telling you is, it's not that you should be doing it, but in spite of doing it a bit, I won't say unscientific, but it was too much for a body that you're working in a place, that's your own place, and then you're doing Panchakarma and also Snehapana. That's not the right method, but then I had no other options. And then because, the patients, they need you, and that's how it is. And most of them are outside India people who had a lot of expectations coming to us. But anyway, I was getting ready for the D-Day. I think it's always nice to acknowledge those who gave you a gift. So the zero cost of Panchakarma, in my case, I just received it well. And Dr. B. Girish is the person who has made the Kutee in our place. Of course, he is not successful unless his wife, Dr. Padma Devi, is helping, my in-laws. So, I mean, they are the ones who created the Kutee, and I think it's the third or the fourth in the world, at least third operational for sure. Maybe some other Kutees have been built, but they're not operational now. So we take care of the logistics very well. And then the real test was Feb and March 2014. For me, it was a life-changing experience, no doubt. And how exactly we will discuss now. That's the real test. And of course, I dedicated it to the ancestors of Ayurveda. And it was very important that whatever you do, you dedicate to your ancestors. Very, very important. I think I'll just cancel the leave the meeting button. Okay, then we'll figure out. There's something on the right side. I think I don't need that. So yes. And in 2015, after 1 year, to be very convinced, I waited for 1 year. After 1 year, being very convinced that the effects are definitely spectacular and perhaps more than the Panchakarma that I do normally on my body or Snehapana every year, we decided that, okay, let's make the Kutee. Now we are qualified to build the Kutee. And we did it. Took about 20-25 lakhs of rupees. And we never knew that if somebody would come or do, we never knew that. So, but then we had to make it anyway. And what I decided later, I convinced my father-in-law, and of course mother-in-law too, that we should offer our space for anyone who wishes to implement his patient's Kutee praveshika Rasayana, offer our space to any doctor. So this is also an offer for all of you, or any one of you. And then by May 2015, I started sharing my experience in 2 magazines. two most popular magazines in Kerala Ayurveda. So that was done very well to communicate all things that were done. And by October 2015, I made sure that the minutest details all are uploaded through videos and photos, all details. It's all in the website. So my karma is finished there by 2015, directly conveyed to about 3,000 doctors. And 2016, the first candidate came. So that's why I said, when you're ready, the candidate will appear before you. And he did for 14 days. He described as his life-changing experience. And then the website crashed in 2016 by somebody. So all this was happening, all the drama. And by 2017, I wanted to make it a mass movement and to spread this information to the government medical officers of the 14 districts of Ayurveda. And I made sure that I created a certain special team, and this team would share regularly the experiences which are special. It's a WhatsApp group, so it reaches to nearly 1,200 plus doctors of the government service, most of the medical officers. And we made sure that even this information is sent to the all official circles of the, so we cover the Ayurvedic districts, all government. And then to spread it further, another group was created. Some of you would be aware of this, to make more awareness. So it was created to communicate to the interns, young interns, because I got convinced of Kutee praveshika Rasayana nearly 14 years. I was kind of final year 2000, nearly 13, 14 years of passing out. But I really wanted the young doctors, young interns to be convinced of that a bit earlier than I did, so that we can save 10 to 12, 14 years for them. That's how the group was created, and we could make it very fine. And then it was Kottakkal in 2017. So it just went on, and more doctors were being conveyed. And there was a modified Kutee praveshika Rasayana done in 2018 October, November, September, October, November segment. It was primarily for Parayana. So I won't call it KPR per se, but I thought, no, it's nice to touch the feet of the ancestors of Ayurveda if you want to go forward better. And for 64 days, reading non-stop the Brihatrays and Lagutrays. So anyway, that's what it happened. And then by 2019, went to Udupi and just made sure that we could spread the information there too. And 17 years later, I thought it was a full circle, starting 2002 in Kottakkal and finishing 2019 in Kottakkal. That's what I thought, my finishing point, because when everything is uploaded in the website, then no, I'm irrelevant. I don't need to convey anything new unless I have something new to convey. So I'd stopped taking classes and everything on Kutee praveshika Rasayana. I thought, okay, that's it. Relax, and everything is a website until Dr. Narayan Nambi, your principal, a fantastic physician and a fantastic organizer and a very fantastic human being. And he said, Doctor, will you take a class? So I said, well, brother, if you say, I would definitely happily oblige. So that's how I thought, no, I'll speak in front of you. And I really hope that I don't have to do it again, because he said all there, whatever I'm speaking to you is already there in the internet. So actually, you really don't need me. Whatever I know is all over the internet, but I thought maybe a live interaction makes it easy. So this is how we have completed this specific PowerPoint, and we now need to see. So you had the introduction, you had the any video, and now we will see the video of. I don't know how much sound you will hear, but now you will have a feel. Now we are getting into the specific experience specifically. And I hope the sound, at least you have the, I don't know how much you hear. This is how it was for me. I did not even drink. There's no entertainment, no reading. I did not even take a bath. The temperature is kind of okay. It's like a cave temperature. Of course, family was out of question. About 60 seconds. Amlaki Rasayana was my Palasha Amlaki. It's all there in the website. So now the question comes, before we get into, I think it will be important if there is a small interaction with the audience instead of keeping everything towards the end, because there are two more PowerPoints, but the two more videos are also there. So since it's already about half an hour, I am ready for anything that can be clarified. Otherwise, too much of information together may be too much to process. So I'm ready for anything that you want me to answer, or else we can go forward. But ideally, it is nice there is interaction, because it's just one way for the moment. And I really wanted that you have a situation where the, I won't say horror, that's not the right word, that the intensity that you're getting into. Can you imagine yourself without your mobile phone for more than 7 days? May not be very easy. It is possible. If I can do it, anyone can do it. Or can you imagine yourself to be shut off in a room, and then there's no contact with anyone other than the one who serves you the medicine? So this is how the challenge starts, and this is what you will have to communicate to your patient. So the biggest challenge in Kutee Praveshika Rasayana is not the medicine or the selection of the medicine. It's in fact the convincing, or the patient getting convinced. But before the patient gets convinced, you need to be convinced that it is good or it is worth doing it. So this is the biggest challenge that I have realized. So whom should I ask? Dr. Manoj, shall I keep going or shall I stop for some clarification?
No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. You can continue, sir.
Okay, right, sir. Okay, then 1 second. I think Vishnu will make sure that. Let us see how the Kutee looks like. Now I showed a pictorial to show the horror of it. Now, 1 second. So before that, we have to do the Shodhana Karma, and that Sruta Raktasya, that is what is there. And this patient, it can be tricky sometimes to do the Shiraveda. All tattooed. His body is entirely tattooed. So not very easy to do Shiraveda in such patients. But anyway, that's how things are. Sometimes not very easy. This Sruta Raktasya is very, very important. So here I was trying to figure out the vein. And now we get to the, because before we start the Kutee, this procedure is so inevitable. I don't know, do you hear the voice there? I have minimized it.
Nice, sir. You are clearly audible.
Okay. So there you can see that I was trying to palpate the vein. And you can even see, of course, it has to be straight vein. Very important. And you see me narrating Om Brahma Daksha Shri Rudrendra of Vamana context. Sutrasthana Ashtanga there. No? It's something that is nice to have the right kind of energy to prevent complications. I do it with every procedure, be it parasurgical or major procedures. So once we chant, we typically do it, and you can see that
prayer that is mixture of Hinduism and Buddhism. It's a very auspicious, and
you can see the
it's good.
Dark
Yeah,
blood
it's a success.
coming
it has
out.
Come like in the fountain pole vanna.
So
I mean, yeah, it has come good.
It's a good flow of that. You know what also
We are
gives a
recording it for you.
psychological
I'll
impact in
send
the
a
mind of
screenshot.
the
We'll forward it to you later.
patient that
Stop
yes,
it.
all my toxins are gone. Now I'm ready to rejuvenate. This is the kind of feel they get when you record it and show to them. No, they feel clean in their body. So now we will make sure that you see, I think, escape up. We get the next one. That's, I think we'll just make it quick for you. So I already want to
Easily
show
have
you
150 to 180.
the very
And
black
also
color,
it's dense also blood. No, it's not only what we see
very
from
black
here.
color.
It's pretty black actually.
They all have significance. Of course, it's preceded by Snepan, obviously, yes. And then you will see the person entering the Kutee. So I had come out of my Kutee of 2018. You see me in the red dress and white lower. I was wearing my glasses for 2-3 months because the eye is kind of sensitive after you come out, and that's how you travel all over wherever you go. So I always make sure that whichever is a patient, any part of the day or night they're getting in, after considering the astrological aspects, I make sure that I am personally escorting them for one of the biggest moments of their life. Very important. The patient feels good. I'm glad that in 2000, when I was final year and getting into internship, uh, 20 years before, I did not even believe that this is a reality. I'm glad 20 years from now, from then, you youngsters, 129 of you, as I can see on the screen, you youngsters have the conviction to believe that this is a fact, it's doable, it's all happening. As you can see, gentleman is all over tattooed. Lord Shiva is on his back. He's somebody called Mr. Tamer from Netherlands, a very big-hearted man, a lot of charity doer, philanthropist. And I gifted the Rudraksha, the Rudraksha that I had prayed, all mantras. And so that's how we get somebody getting into it. So this moment is not fun. This moment is very, very special and very, yes, we left out, abandoned, and you kind of feel that, oh God, what I'm going to do there inside now alone. So how do you deal with yourself? This is the biggest challenge in Kutee Praveshika Rasayana. So it needs a bit of training of the mind and all such things. So now we will get into the PowerPoint. Yeah. Now we'll get into the slides that were sent. I had already sent to the organizers. Third, no problem. So the third one is to have some theory or some academics into it. I really did not want, as I promised the organizers, your professors, that I really did not want to speak anything that's already in the textbook. I should be speaking things which are not in the textbook explicitly, and that's what matters. Of course, I would say it's the best attempt to halt the aging process, if not age. And these lessons are learned from my mentor, Dr. K. Shankaran sir, and this is what he was presenting. If he was alive, he would have been taking this class. So anyway, no, imagine about him, I just do it. So as mentioned, we want to have that clarity in this topic and the confidence, and if possible, to start KPR in the next months or years, if you think of. I cannot start this presentation big way unless I express my gratitude to Tapasviji Maharaj, who is the first person to give us the technology. Handed over to, on the right hand side, gentleman, elderly gentleman with specs, Swami Satchidanand. On the left is my mentor, who learned the secrets or the intricacies from Swami Satchidanand, who was the student and disciple of caretaker of Tapasviji Maharaj, who taught him what has to be done, etc. And Raviraj sir is the one, I'm grateful to him as much I'm grateful to Swami Satchidanand is no more. And he's the one who implemented mine on me in 2014. So I'm here because of both of them, and of course Tapasviji Maharaj. I think we'll just rush through these things. This, you will have the PowerPoint from your professors anyway. Let us not talk about what is geriatric care. Let us not talk about factors associated with aging. It's all there, all known to you, nothing new. And common diseases in the elderly, I mean, it's all known to you. And the common list continues. I'll just rush through that because I really want interaction with you than this PowerPoint. And this PowerPoint is going to be uploaded apparently in the web anyway, so that's okay. It's already there in the web, in my website also anyway. So that preserving youthfulness, I must say, is definitely the case. I feel for me, I'm 40 plus, nearly 41, God willing, in October. But I have the youthfulness in my mind and heart, I believe, and also my body. I can have a game of football with you youngsters who are 23, 24 apparently. So that is there. Very, very youthful feeling of the mind and the body. We may not look young, that's okay, but we do feel very, very young. And curing disease is also very much helped. And this delaying aging process, I think so, based on what people have said to me, is a possibility. Laborious process, special heart, and you see all the details, Kamya, Naimitika. I'm just skipping that. This was prepared in 2005 segment, but this is no more needed simply because I have shared it in the website video now. You saw it. Obviously, you need the Snepan, you need the Swedan, you need the Vaman. I mean, everything needed. Nearly 2 months. So that's an economical impact. And I think instead of debating on the indication and contraindication, the most challenging thing is to make it convinced. So I think that is the first indication of contraindication. Other things come later. The preparation is very, very important. And when we have the interaction, I will guide you easily, if you wish, how we can prepare. Because see, all this presentation is a waste of your time and energy if it doesn't give you the confidence and the clarity that, okay, boss, I can also do it myself or with some help. So I'm looking for a situation where youngsters can get into it. And for that, of course, they have to do on themselves first. And so this is what was being done to that patient. Brahma Rasayana or any suitable is what is normally done. Milk, some may be lactose intolerant, so we'll have to skip it. Again, it has to be fresh cow milk. You can't have the Milma milk, obviously not. And complications, yes, they're more psychological in nature, if at all. And what was done by my mentor was Dr. K. Shankaran sir. One was Kamya variety, others were like in a modified Kutee, if I say, it was more of a disease and cure attempted for it. And the biggest challenge is that it needs intense attention and observation of the patient. Continuous monitoring is needed because you never know who is getting nuts when. Big challenge. And anyway, what you see here on the screen is what my mentor had done. 7 experts from Ayurveda and 7 from the modern, they worked in tandem, and everything is there, all there in the website. This is what happened. So we come to a specific case study that was done by my mentor. So I always make sure that's the first major case that was documented in such a major manner. Somebody 51, as I mentioned, asymnia was his condition. Now those days, getting pornography was not through the internet. So even the gentlemen could not even masturbate per se to bring the semen out. They showed all kind of blue films and all kind of things, nothing. And unlike YouTube was perhaps not that common those days, it was some CD and kind of thing, but nothing. The semen will not come out itself. So that's what a kind of barren, the seventh dhatu is not there kind of situation, age 51. So 2 months of Panchakarma done, and Brahma Rasayana was the one that used. It went to the peak of 450 grams, but not everyone tolerates it because this is your food. That's how it goes. And Pathya period was 1 month. And this is what he had mentioned, the changes that happened in him and that were also seen. So he had a good improvement, but more than that, we could get a stage in him. The semen collection that was impossible happened, and not only it happened, fantastically qualitative and quantitative change happened. Typically in infertility situations, we are aware of the fact that oligospermia is hopeful, even azoospermia is kind of difficult, but maybe sometimes hopeful, but viscosities and the mortalities and those aspects are getting better for sure, even if it doesn't result into a child being conceived. But still, we know those things are possible. But asymnia, we hardly find getting better that easily. So, but then save our souls. This is the most challenging thing. I don't know how many are from outside Kerala in this, if at all. But in Kerala, we say Kili Varakua, Chidiya Gayab. Like when you get really nuts. So he was telling that he's having insomnia and something crawling, angels are talking to him, a girl is bathing in the dreams, I mean, all kind of hallucinations. And so it had to be, curtailed. And that was the case what my mentor did. And When it comes to the Naimitika Rasayana, it is usually for Kricha to Asadhya conditions and seemingly incurable diseases. And what my mentor has done is for CRF, CAD, malignant tumors, and we will see that. I mean, it's a very simple way of looking into it. And majority of the times, if the disease is not cured, at least the quality of life is enhanced. And in early stages, patient can be saved most of the time. And a decent farewell at least is possible. So I'm just sharing a case that was somebody with renal failure. This is not the case I treated. It was treated by my mentor. And just to let you know that it was Shilajit that was used, and 10 gram was a dose. And you see this very clearly. And the drug preparation is easy because you have that irumbu chatti, that loha patra, and you put the Shilajit and you process it with the kashaya that you intend to make the bhavana of. So you really don't have to triturate us by bhavana, but you just have to pour it, and that's easy. And it will just absorb everything, and that's ready. It's not very tasty, but but that's it, how it is. So in this case, it's all self-explanatory. And what is typically done is 49 days. Again, we don't know if a patient would cooperate for that long, or but they'll go for a renal transplant, and so many possibilities are there. And it's no guarantee that even if you do renal transplant, that you would be having no complication or rejection. So many possibilities that it may just get against you. So this is always a chance, but then this is laborious process, and that's what you have to make the patient aware of. And the details are very clearly seen. Creatine like 16 is real mess. And it's exactly as per the Ashtamgam Vidyapeedham protocol. I have not witnessed this patient, but that's the data that has been handed over to me. And urea 272, and all everything is there. The HB also got better and such. Anyway, this another case, 51, St. George, and a typical sofa-like situation, and dialysis already done 25 times. And we always know that what happens in allopathy if it goes above 6. I mean, till 6, the kind of okay, manageable by Ayurveda is what is the general consensus. Creatine, but creatine is not the last thing. You will have the urea, of course, but more superior is the EGFR, the glomerular filtrate rate, which is more important, and such. So, well, this case was so terrible, and it's a vrika anyway, it's a vasti area anyway, it's a mahamarma anyway, so it's never easy anyway. But then in such patients also, you will see the data so clear cut. It is all done nearly 22 years ago, and the patient lived without symptoms for more than 8 more years. So that's an achievement when you can't afford the renal transplant and such. So the data are very clear cut. I don't have the original paper now with me because it was with Sir, so I just typed it out, and that's what happened. And so liposarcoma, very tough. Sarcoma is where even my mentor, Dr. C.P. Matthew Sir, with 61 years of his experience, he says the poka. Poka in Malayalam means gone case, done, khalas. And repeated chemotherapy and radiation, unsatisfactory results. What can you do? Recurrent liposarcoma. And of course, the symptom was numbness, posterior aspect of right leg. And it was a balataka that was done in the long run. And the details are very clear cut. Karaskara Grita for 7 days. So it's very challenging process, but it's doable. You see, the cost is not the problem here. I mean, if it's a government sector, the room rent is like, depends on where you are, which category of room you have taken. It's a duration. A patient may or may not accept, but then it's cancer, boss. So if you don't have time for you to go through a process that may be of helpful nature, then so this is convincing is not easy. So Balataka cost, way back in 1999, it was just 50 rupees. And nearly 20 years later, 100 more rupees with inflation or whatever, 1 kilogram. So I mean, approximately 100 pieces in a kg, and so 10 kg you need. So kind of your expense is like 1,500 rupees, and that's not much for a disease. I mean, for a simple chemotherapy, you would need at least 10,000 to 15,000. There are certain chemos which are like 50,000 rupees. And forget the chemo cost, you have the room rent and whatnot in a private hospital. So it's a very, very cost-effective process. But then It is not fun dealing with Palataka, but it's doable. I wanted to make it economically compatible and competitive. So he had a fantastic improvement. I think I have these reports with me as a photostat. Most likely I would be having it, most likely. But anyway, pain completely eradicate out 20 days itself and cure of symptoms. And then another case of left maxillary fibroosseous lesion. I don't say, dear doctors, I mean, you're not doctors, but you will be soon. Many of you are interns, are not even interns, I understand, fine years. It's not that everything the patient may agree, but I was handed over a legacy by my mentor, Dr. K. Shankaran sir, and I always prefer that it is shared wherever it can be. This is why I'm communicating you things that these may sound seemingly incurable, but when you do your things and your homework in the right manner, God will definitely empower you for a day when it will be your pleasure and your privilege and your honor to do one of the most toughest assignments of your life in Ayurveda. So just keep your psyche and interest formatted for that kind of a reality. And then you'll see the photos here very clearly. I really want to mask his eye, at least one of them. And you see this, and here it is. How the change you can see in the green, and the other side it's kind of like as if as if you have cut it off. So this is the kind of surgical correction it can make. If it can make so much internally, same externally, it's a fantastic achievement. But the patient did cooperate quite a lot, and it's something that can be easily done. I personally haven't got the opportunity where somebody agreed to do the Sastra Balataka. Reasons could be multiple. The patient may not have sufficient confidence in me. The patient may not have 50 days to stay somewhere. He may not have the room rent to pay for. There's so many possibilities. And this was first Shilajit case. And I will mention the reference of a doctor who has genuine Shilajit. Shilajit is a very adulterated thing. So you should not be fooled by the poor quality of Shilajit. Very, very important. It's a very adulterated one in the market. And in the case of the cirrhosis liver, it was Shilajit Rasayana process in Vasha Kuluchadi. Very clear cut. And just you keep it immersed and then everything is easy. And this is all self-explanatory, and I don't have to really explain it to you how the 9.5 bilirubin becoming 1.6. Of course, we have seen bilirubin more than 25, 26, that's there, but still, this was not easy case. So talking about the Kutee praveshika and then the, so I think it may look a bit funny, but let me put this, it's not for style. I have a reason to put on this glass here now. It may look a bit kind of funny. That's not my intention. I have a clear agenda. I don't know if it, Mr. Ram, the brilliant final student, is he taking screenshot of this. There's one brilliant student called Ram. He belongs to Ashtamgam College final year from the heritage of Chikitsa. So this is how you are walking for the next month or two after you have completed Kutee Praveshika Rasayana. And this is not fun, because scores of people, they keep asking, what happened to you eyes? Where did you go? And so many things. And then the social circles of your relatives start speculating whether you have some incurable disease or XYZ. This is a big social nuisance. And as a, what we say as a medical officer that I am on leave currently. As a medical officer, when you keep this and you attend the OPD, the patient will say, oh, that's a stylish, damn arrogant doctor. Well, jade angere coding class itte idikku OPD. Rajinikanth pol itra style illa. Even Rajinikanth doesn't have this much of style. That kind of a narration you will like made fun of and so many things. So if you're ready for this, then only get into it. Because many times, maybe it was my problem. I'm quite pitta by my nature, and also a situation where what I would call as, that summer, I came out in March, summer its peak till May. I was not very comfortable without this class. Maybe if it was done in rainy time, I won't have had difficulty, or maybe my constitutional challenge, whatever. But this is very important, and that's is one of those situations I was using the glass. The reason I'm telling it, you have the number also there. There is one Vaidya, Dr. Tapan Kumar sir, brilliant, great man, great person, who does Kutee in the home of the patient. So let us try to do something than do nothing at all, because to build an infrastructure that may cost 25 lakh rupees is not easy. Or else you can use an established institution, or then you do even try to do in the home of the patient, which is also kind of reasonably and very noticeably effective. So yeah, I mean, now I can remove the glass for that reason. So here, why I'm telling this, Dr. K. Shankaran's name time and again, he was a great mentor. He was a great inspiring teacher, a great physician, a very noble person. We have a responsibility towards our mentors, our teachers. We are part of a Guru Parampara. We may not be gurus, okay, we are students. I am a student even now. I will be till my death, like most of you will be. But then we have responsibility towards propagating things. And he did his job. I think it's our time to do our job. And that's why I always dedicate every such to him. And by this, I think we would now get to the point where we will see somebody coming out, the video, wherein coming out. There's a lady who spent 52 days and
The sunlight, but no, this light is not as so Felicity is slowly coming out of the Kutee.
she was the champion.
Srikanth is waiting with the.
It's like your
No,
home.
no, you can easily touch now as you keep coming.
When you spend a lot of time there,
You can gesture.
it's like your home. So obviously,
Respecting
that's the way we do. Like you go to a temple or a
and
mosque or
slowly.
a church.
And even if you feel an outburst, it's okay. Just no, don't worry on that. Don't worry on that at all. Don't worry. Maybe you can close the door just in case. No, why to?
That's the second layer that you see. Third is the innermost.
No, it's
universe.
okay because no, you'll see.
She is also wearing the Rudraksha that
I'm
I
not
pictured her.
Coming out,
And then you come out to
this
the
is the
outer.
second layer over. Now
Second
the
layer is
third layer,
almost
of course,
over.
you have seen it, so no big deal. Third layer was anyway seen by you. And I think we go this way. Once I should better be in the front. Okay.
These are very important moments of somebody's life when they get
Yeah, I
in.
can understand that.
We had a gentleman
Everyone will
getting
be
in.
nervous
We had a
like
lady getting out.
It's been a long time.
So I thought it's a
Yeah.
But I'm very excited
fair
to
mixture of
feel
two
the grass
genders.
with my feet.
Yes.
And
So you want to represent
my
both
ഇവർക്ക്
genders.
ഭയങ്കര ബേജാറ് കേട്ടോ. അത് ഇച്ചിരി കരയണം അങ്ങനൊക്കെ ഫീലിംഗ് ആണ്.
Bejar means
And here
quite
are your
anxious.
cows.
Typically, we request them to feed the cows who were feeding the milk to the person inside.
അവർക്ക് കരയണം ഇറങ്ങി പോകണ്ടെന്നൊക്കെ പറയുന്നുണ്ട്. Yes.
It's a good feeling now that you're feeding somebody who was feeding you.
Make sure that it doesn't bite you.
Really don't bite.
Just in case.
Friendly.
So, and because we have to tell these aspects to a patient before it is done, how you get in, and so typically we would just make sure that
Yeah.
I'll get you one day. Not too much.
No problem. The കൊച്ചിനും കൊടുക്കണ്ടേ? I think for the baby also.
yeah, I mean
Baby may or may not accept.
it's just a sharing. It's just to show you how we bring out somebody, and there's so many things that happens to the mind. Some feel like crying, howling, ecstasy,
He has idli for you
multiple
today.
things, even though it's not a prison.
Srikanth has organized that. I think
But,
the menu is something else, officially
You
speaking.
are the slave of time.
It was a different menu, but
Normally,
it's good.
we all of us are.
Srikanth organized that for you.
And but when you are inside the Kutee, the time is your slave. The only problem is you have no clue what to do with that slave. This is the biggest word. This is why the challenge happens. So I think now you have seen how a Kutee is. You had a general understanding of what I went through, and then you see how somebody got in, somebody came out. And before Vishnu, a second. Dr. Manoj, shall we halt for a while for a question or keep going?
Sir, please continue. No problem, sir.
Okay, right. Because it is becoming too one way, too much one way. So anyway, I just thought if there is some voice from the other side, no, the audience would be more happy than me only. Anyway, so we'll get into, okay, now coming to the point. Supposing you want to do Kutee on yourself, somebody else, or you want to convince somebody to do it, I think it's my responsibility to share. So the website ID is already shared, and this is how it will look like. You have the review of the literature. When it's already in my website, I don't have to say this to you. You have the compilation of theses by my sister like Dr. Aparna Joshi, already mentioned before. And then the PowerPoint that you saw of Dr. K. Shankaran sir, already there. So even if you have missed something, if I was quick. And the Kutee praveshika done at the home as per the advice of Dr. Tapan Vaidya sir, Tapan Kumar sir, is also there, the details. And then my experience of the Amlaki Palasha Rasayana, the 61 videos are all there, everything there. How the Kutee looks like in Dr. Raviraj Kadle sir's place, it's also there. And my experience, everything document, how much ghee was taken, how much was the virechana dose happening, in ingestion of the medicine, how much was the Vasti's Gomutra utilized, how much was the drops, how much were the drops of Nasya with Nimbathaila or Jivantyadikrita, every detail. Basically, if somebody looks and hooks on to this website, he or she can easily copy paste a structure that can be easily done. Of course, slight modification you may do as per your clinical situation. But I was healthy. Well, I assume I'm still healthy. I did not have any symptoms per se. But then, I just did very intense. I had to do 2 snehapans and snehapana, and then I had a sita with that. Everything is there. And also on the right hand side, you see the detailed video of the Kutee. So everything is there. So review of literature is there. I mean, thesis compilation is there. It's all yours. The PowerPoint you have seen now, and how the modified Kutee praveshika is done. You have it here on the screen. So it's all I took. So these are videos. I mean, let us not repeat it. The preparation how I had done. Everything. And so I'm just taking some screenshots of what I had done. You see the Ramanacharya on the third, you see gentleman standing with orange saffron color dress, and so everything is there. Dept of Kayachikitsa, that was done on me, and this is inside the Kutee. I was taking photo with my camera, and so everything is there. There you see the Palash and Amlaki. Why I'm telling these things here is very simple. That way back in 1996, as a first year graduation, my seniors would say, "Idu Acharyamaru rendu kanjava adichu ezhudiyadano?" The ancestors of Ayurveda used cannabis and wrote these imaginary things. So I come from that background of listening such things. Obviously, as a first year student, you are also confused. Is it really happening somewhere? So I really don't want any one of you to have that feeling, or even your juniors for that matter, first years. That's a fact. If I can do it, you can do it, and you can do it better than me because you have more things than I had when I started it. So the faith is more important than anything else. Other things follow. And you see me that with a black glass going everywhere. This is how I was. And so there's a clean photography that showed the changes very clearly before, after. And gentleman, his phone number is there. Shri Suman, his phone number is there. And then the entire details I have shared in the Apta magazine and in the Physician magazine. Entire details, everything, what I have done A to Z. So actually, I would say my presence here is not needed at all, because everything is already there in the website, because I'm just telling what I already uploaded, other than question answer. And here you will see in this video, I am interviewed by somebody. It's a prominent figure in USA, a very lovely friend of mine, and the video is entirely for that. So this is how you can utilize the website, because I really did not want to put even one shloka in the PowerPoint, because that is known to all of you anyway. And before we go further, I'm again asking, should I stop and restart, or should I keep going?
You can continue, sir.
We can continue.
Last
It's the last one. Is, yeah, FAQs basically 42 slides, and they would easily get over in a matter of next half an hour. But obviously, the 2 hours I had promised, I would be definitely obliging, no doubt. I don't find any internet challenge anymore, so I think we will sail through easily. So unless you have a rush to close it from my side, I'll make sure that I'm available with extra time. I could not be with you. So anyway, these curiosities, I thought I'll make a FAQ, and instead of having repetitions over the phone, let us get these curiosities answered with honesty. So I don't know why, because yesterday when we prepared the PowerPoint and when it was sent to the organizers, it was not coming like question mark. But anyway, those who completed, the data is very clear cut. Only 33 people could be done. But when I say only 33 people, apparently only 87 people have done it in the whole world. So 33 is not a big amount. I understand that. 100 would be a decent amount. But then the patient should agree to do it. Getting the candidate is the biggest challenge. Unless you become the candidate and convince yourself, the patient will not be believing what you say. They will ask first thing, doctor, have you done on yourself even 7 days? And today's world, where it's very difficult to be digitally detoxing, I don't know how many would really be able to accept that idea. So the strategy is very clear. 2 people gave up. They got in, but they gave up. One changed at the last moment. He said, no, I'm not doing it, which is fine. And the candidates, age-wise, everything is shared. The maximum enthusiasm is in between 30 to 50, as you can see, basically 30 to 60. Puravaisi Madhyeva situation. And we even had somebody who was very senior. And the duration days is just for data sake. I mean, just it's updated, it's data sake only. You see the star mark there because I fall in that 35 days category, and also if I get into this 64 days category. So that's why I put it like that. And what is the feedback? The fact of the matter is, many people, they keep it as a very, very personal, how to say, experience. So unlike a documented case study, here people don't agree to that easily. This is my very private feeling. I don't want to share with people. I don't want to tell you. Just do it on me. So I've had people who had a very good time, but they just said that, sorry, I'm not keen to share my experience. So what can I do? So, but the feedback is that the self-declared 18 people said, I'm really happy. One clearly said to me, in spite of spending 30 days inside, someone from Brazil, she was an astrologer. She was upset about the outcome. Well, that's how it is. What can I do? And 10 people, they haven't replied to me whether they're happy or not happy, or maybe they wanted to reply later. I don't know what the scene is, but this is what the feedback. So these are questions which are very clear cut there. Somebody asked me if it's exaggerated. I would say it seems so, because maybe our level of pollution, our level of herbs quality, or maybe simply we are in Kali Yuga, I don't know. But for me, it looks like a bit exaggerated than what is mentioned in the classics. And the effects mentioned in the body and mind, I would say not always the case. It's self-explanatory. And somebody even asked me, have the the teeth pollen and such? Definitely not in my case. Definitely not. These are various doctors who had asked their questions. And somebody, said IPD management, OPD level. Obviously, if it is IPD, the impact is more, even if it is not a Kutee. And but OPD has its own flexibility. Like somebody with a chronic skin disease, you would definitely go for a long-term usage of at least 90 days, 42 to 45 days minimum of Madhusuni Rasayan, 5 to 10 grams with Mahatirtha Grit. You will do that. Somebody, you kind of get a Rasayana effect in that. With a disc herniation, degenerative conditions, you will go for Dhanvantram, Medikapagam, that is up to 10 ml is fine. It acts as a Rasayana. These are the practically usable. Somebody with chronic cardiopulmonary issues, you would go for Agastya Rasayana as one-time meal of the person, preferably in the morning. So these are so many possibilities, and these need to be taken seriously, because only if somebody is getting convinced at an OPD level of the Rasayana application. So in the OPD level, it's always best that let that Rasayana kal or the Rasayana be the food of the day or that moment. And once that is digested, you go for your normal food. So that is more easy. But then patient has to agree and cooperate. And then role of mental strength, obviously yes, and no. The noise of solitary confinement in darkness, that is deafening. The silent noise is deafening. So the mind has a big role to play. That's why I say, unless you do on yourself, nobody will believe you. And then somebody said about, as you see here, and that 4 months and such. But in reality, it's not easy. If you don't hear any kind of sound for some time, you'll really go nuts. You'll go nuts, really. And then some people ask if it's a medical process. I say no, it's an inner journey process also. It's not just a medical process. It's a lot of internal journey in that. I just want to deviate you a bit because I'm speaking all the time. It's just for you people who are final years and more. Every patient in your life would be either a blessing or a lesson. One of my favorites, she is a very darling friend of mine. I'm telling this because it needs a certain frame of mind to get into this process. It doesn't relate to everyone. I don't mean to sound snobbish or arrogant. That's not my intention. But there is a call you feel deep inside. I want to do it. If you have that call, you'll have the right arrangements for you. You just have to have that feel. So it's a very purifying process, as you see in this. And somebody said he did for 121 days, a lot of improvement. So for me, the challenge is, how do you convince somebody to do 121 days? It's not easy. That's why here comes the role of yoga people doing vipassana, and such situations. Very, very, very relevant. And somebody asked me, is it a spiritual process? Well, I would just borrow the term of inner engineering from Sadhguruji, but there's a lot of information in the attitude, no doubt on that. So if you think it's just a medical experience, I would slightly and humbly disagree, at least in my case. It's more than that. And Manasaroga, I've never tried, because to do in Manasaroga, you need to be fit. So, I mean, when you are nuts yourself inside the dark room, it doesn't make it easy. And anti-aging, I would definitely say yes. It definitely has a big impact. It's definitely anti-aging, for me at least. And also majority of the people have done it. Immune booster, yes, but you can get immunity even without Kutee praveshika Rasayana. The Vata Thipa group is sufficient enough, actually. Yeah, there are 3 operational Kutees, as you can see. And what is the challenge is, why only 3? Because first of all, the technology is not there, how to do it. But now by this class, you have it, and through my website also. And the patients don't really kind of are willing all the time. It's laborious for the doctor and the patient. And then the solitary confinement is not fun. Yeah. So anyway, it's just again something I'm deviating you to something, because your final years, you're going to have your exams, or you have passed your final year and your internship, whichever. It's very important to enhance your strength. In this world, only strength respects strength. There is no place for fear. Fear has no place. This is very applicable when you get into private practice or individual practice. Very relevant. Somebody asked me about the duration, so it's very clear cut, very crystal clear. And I personally feel it would be good. Do it for one mandala kala, 42 days to 48 days, whichever definition fits in. 6 weeks would be the best way to do it. But then somebody wants to try it at least for 7 days. Let us try. Maybe the person feels convinced, and maybe he goes for more number of days, because the psychological barrier, oh God, next 45 days alone, it doesn't suit well for somebody's enthusiasm. So that we have to prepare. And now, Divya after these, sorry boss, these would have been there for sure, but not now. We have lost some links. Just as we lost how to do rhinoplasty, we have lost some links. And I think it's, let us not go for Divya Avshadis when we also don't know if it's available or not. Let us do with the available Avshadis. That's more practical and pragmatic. And I think what's the best age would be, 30 plus. But then there have been people who have done at a younger age. The youngest one somebody has done is 23 years for me. And the senior to him was a lady, 26 years. She became to a stage of a zero insulin scenario, but that she was taking. But then no, she stayed only 7 days, and she could not sustain that for more than a month, that status. So maybe if it was done for a longer time, maybe it could have been better. Maybe it's all speculation because we don't have data to prove it. First of all, we don't have mechanisms to do it entirely. And the challenges and difficulties in KPR, I mean, till 2015, there was no reliable, credible website featuring the documentation. So I thought I just took the responsibility. And the lack of awareness among doctors was the first challenge. Then who will agree to volunteer such a laborious process? There's no infrastructure other than 3 of us. The high cost and seemingly unrealistic results. So it's all against you to get it done. And even if you manage all that, have the money, time, doctor, patient all agreed, what to do with solitary confinement, how to deal yourself alone in a dark room for a long time. This is precisely why I showed you that 60 seconds of my animation kind of video, wherein you see the horror that it may involve into. There may be modifications that can be done. Again, no, as I say that when you are in practice, nothing to do with Kutee. He's my most favorite friend from Iran. Every patient is a blessing or a lesson that you will have to remind yourself once you pass out your somewhere short in Iran, Tehran, not Tehran, somewhere in Iran. And we get to another question. Will it help cancer patients? I don't have a data, but I've seen in the OPD of Dr. C.P. Matthew, sir, who is the oldest and the most experienced oncologist in India at the age of 91 years, that he is using ashwagandha in almost every patient that I have seen with him, under him. So I'm sure there's definitely a role for Rasayana. I don't have a data to prove if that ashwagandha itself made the big impact, but it's definitely a common logic to relate to. And the kind of impact it had on me that I could work until 2019, even beyond now, like extra 5,000 hours than I would normally do, because the need of sleep was much decreased. But still that freshness is there. And but then the impact lasted for 5 years, I would say 4 years in my case, the full impact. But then you have overworked, you have taken more stress in professional life and whatever kind of stress it is, and plenty of activity. So yeah, I mean, I think I have no data, but the recurrence prevention is a high possibility, more than cure. And I see that somebody asked me isolate word for longer period and such things. The challenge of the vitamin D related, but then I didn't find any deficiencies in my case. I did not find. And I think that's a good feeling. How do we get somebody into the suggestions to prepare for the solitary confinement? So I would say, try with a dark curtain, supply of food in your home, reduce your social contact. Supposing I saw a certain video today of a doctor from Mangalore. I'm sorry I couldn't remember his name, but the gentleman from Mangalore for sure, who had mentioned that in his study, or he's a clinical psychiatrist and such, he had mentioned that what is called as the average span of 1 second. The average span of a young person getting into this online presence or gadget presence is 7.5 hours. Well, I don't know the data's originality, but I am not surprised. So we will have to plan to detox digitally before we do Kutee. This was not the challenge in the previous days and times. So Vipassana is something that helps. And obviously, it's also nice. When I did the second time, I was using this black glass. It just helps you to cut light in many ways, and it helps. Premature aging, I don't know what to say on that, because the sense of youthfulness is even now very significant for me. At least the feeling is great. But my gray hair did not vanish. Definitely has not vanished. Maybe it's my Pitta Prakriti and I'm at the wrong side of age 30. Maybe that's the reason. But so indications, I think we have already covered it. Mentally unstable, contraindication. I mean, this is the kind of feeling you get, as Albert Einstein had mentioned, that my life is indebted and dependent to the contributions of other individuals, both living and non-living, and that I must constantly work in order to pay back in the same measure to the world I live in my lifetime and after it. This is what is the feeling that comes to you during Kutee time and even after that. And that feeling still sustains. In my case, I'm sure it will be with everyone's case if you do it in a strong manner. And homebound Kutee, I have communicated that. Pathya is, of course, as important, even common disease. Vegetarian diet is what I mentioned, and you see it automatically. I was doing regular exercise, less contact with people, lesser, if not less. And I'm sure that instead of giving a no to what is a possibility, it is better to give a try. Because you see, in 2002, not many people spoke about it. And in 2020, now about 100 people are watching it. So it's a sign of progress for me to judge the situation. So yeah, it is a psychological, spiritual, whatever you may call it. It has a big effect. There's no doubt on that. Charity making, compassion, losing ego, whatever it is, it has a huge impact on the psyche. It's not just about feeling young, more stamina, more agility. It's not only about that. It's more than that. And toxic drugs, I mean, I haven't used. And if you can call Bhalataka toxic, well, then it has already been shared. Champion. I'm very impressed by this lady from Australia. And you saw her coming out of the Kutee. And I mean, the photo itself is self-explanatory, pre and post. And she sustained this benefit for, I think, 1.5 years. The last time I had contact with her was quite a while ago, I think 3 months ago, something. She said that she has put on weight like she was before Kutee. So which means that you have a feedback that you have to maintain yourself quite well after Kutee also. You have to do the homework, but there's some challenges that came into her life and whatever. So, but anyway, just to let you know, there are people who have done till 50. That's the highest somebody has stayed. Then next is somebody's 47 days, at least for me. But I know somebody who stayed like, I think 120 days or so. Not in my place, some other place. And this is a letter, I had sent to her mom. And what I was told by the healer somewhere in Slovenia, a very darling friend of mine, he said that the shamans of the Amazon forest, they think that only 1%, yes, only 1% of the world population can do such a rigorous program. So for a situation of 700 crore people, 1% is a huge figure. It's a huge figure. So you just have to think if you are in that 1%, if you are interested on that. And then, Amalaki has a challenge. The carpenter is needed to cut. So, I mean, I'll just leave it to self-explanatory. And keeping in the fridge is a big challenge. Amalaki Rasayanam, which was, the storage. We have that missing link. We don't know how it could be maintained without getting, wrong quality and such. The trouble is, you may have a very grand design of doing a, Shira Chinnam Palashasya, that, Amalaki Rasayan, Palasha Amalaki Rasayan, but when you cover a tree, you kind of put, all the coverings, mud and such, and then you burn it. It just becomes like a voodoo and a black magic and exorcism. People get suspicious, more so in Kerala, where everywhere you have people in population. That can be a bit challenging, So what we do is, because there's no point telling that is the best method, and we don't do without the best method. You have to maybe alter. And we found it useful, the fresh bark of palasha, boiled kashayam, with amalaki. I mean, you put the palasha, you put the amalaki, palasha bark, and you kind of boil it and steam it, and then this gets into a very precise, what we call as mixture later on. And so it's all possibilities, because what to do when you can't burn a tree in an open place like Kerala? These are logistical challenges. I mean, the website has been shared. I mean, it is self-explanatory. This website is made since 2012, and the last 8 years, I very happily and with pleasure spent 7 lakh rupees. I was saving 10%, nearly 5 to 10% of my government salary every month. And it's all there. The purpose of that is very much there. I thought it's Kutee anyway, I understand, but nevertheless, it's also important that I could help you in some things that are per se what I would call as long-term needs. It's all there in the website. Everything is there. And this is a message from the first person who did the Kutee. And these are his opinions. So I thought I will just share it here. It needs rigorous scientific investigations, but the first challenge, as I mentioned, is who will do the program. That is the challenge. And these are his opinions. And there are many things that can be done. It's a teamwork. So all thoughts for you. And the impact is very clearly there. You just have to look into the red lines more, the red words, they're more relevant. This is somebody who sent me a feedback recently. He did for 47 days. And then what is his experience, he has mentioned very clearly. What I mean is that we need these kind of precise feedbacks, and they should be honest. And you see the number I, sexual inclination and dreams have declined considerably. And this phenomenon had started during the Kutee itself. So imagine if opposite was the intention of the patient, and this ends up being the end result. You're doomed. The patient would just blame you. I was okay, and then you did this anti-aging. So I'm just sharing very honestly whatever I have understood and whatever I have realized. And maybe people have different objectives of doing it. So this expectation setting is the key to convince anyone to do Kutee praveshika Rasayan. I think pretty much we will end up. I don't know what careers you will get into. Typically, if I'm invited to one place, I never go there again, because whenever somebody meets me for the first time, I would like to become irrelevant to that person or that institution as early as possible. And that's what I have done just now. But I think we should depart by a simple message for all of us. By doing well the duty in our hands now, we are improving our strength. And I mean, it's all there. I don't have to read it. I would remain silent. And even though 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock was the time that I was supposed to engage, it's now like nearly 3:50. I'll be definitely there for the time I did not be with you, or till the questions get over. I think we'll call it a day from my side. And I think this is the best way as you pass out into internship, as you pass out from internship in a year or two, whichever. I think that's the best way to prosper. You have to learn and you have to propagate your science. You have to serve properly and you get to the prosperity automatically. Like every passionate Indian, I also carry that passion. I always have my chest with my flag studded in it because we belong to this country. We are perhaps the only country to advocate the idea of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. We take the whole world in a big way. Our heart is Indian, but our spirits are international. I think that's the way we should conclude, just as we started it. And I think now anything that you want me to answer, I'm there. And yeah, it's nearly 4, but as I mentioned, we are ready for any kind of interaction of whichever nature. But most of the FAQs that comes to people's mind, I have shared. But I'm open to any question. I may not have an answer for every question, but at least I can note down and answer to you through your department.
Thank you very much, sir, for such interesting session. As Sreejit sir, Namaste, and Ashtanga family is extremely delightful to having you for our last section of Chikitsasiddhi National Level Webinar Series. Thank you for sharing videos, cases, and showing us the possibilities of Rasayana Chikitsa. Now we shall move on to the discussion session. Delegates, you may now unmute your mic and can ask your queries, or you may raise your queries through the chat box. I call upon Shamma, final student Ashtangam, to mediate the discussion. Shamma, over to you.
There are 32 chats there. I don't know if I should be answering that. Somebody said, I want to for 7 days. Oh, I don't know. Nevertheless, let me, how do we get that? As I mentioned before, I am ready till all the questions get over. As simple as that. So I have no problem till you have to go. I think once you would message to everyone. What I'm sharing here, the number that the professors, Dr. Manoj and Dr. Anushri have, wait a minute, it's fine, is my personal number, but this is my professional number. And so all the academic and the patients, I usually share this. My other number is a personal number. That's what I have handed them over. What will be the cost? For staying 7 days, it depends where you go for actually. I have heard from Dr. Setu Madhavan that it is 35 lakhs for his program, not for 7 days, 35 lakhs. Okay, the number that you see 8075093245 is my professional number. So in case we don't have enough time here, I have all the time for you. You can always send a text to that. In fact, let me scroll to see if I can start answering from there, from the very beginning. Okay, it was not audible situation. Low previously it was okay. I think voice feeble. Okay, Falguni Thakkar. Dr. Saab, how many days to stay for KPR? I would say at least 7 days would be needed. Oh yeah, Dr. Gopika, what I do is let me take a screenshot of these things so that if at all I present anywhere else, that I will use these questions as a PowerPoint, then that is easy. I don't know this platform much. I don't know if these things can be for you, doctor. Oh, me abnormal. Well, I'm called a maverick all the time by my friends, but I'll tell my abnormality too. Was any abnormal behavior inside Kutee? My case, well, I started believing that my height had increased. I don't know if you call it abnormal, but that was my thought. It's not a dangerous abnormality, but I will also share with you. 1 second, form of today. Okay, cost of KPR, I'll come to that. Which website? Oh, Agnivesh.info is a website that I have been repeatedly communicating that through the slides. Everything is there. Dr. Falguni Thakkar, Yamin Khan. What was that? No, that is feedback. Sorry, I don't have to. Apta was in 2015. There's a question at 3:30. And for ladies going to what? Oh, periods, nothing to worry. That is not inhibition. Age restriction, I mean, it's nice if somebody's at least an adult of 19, 20 onwards. My youngest person, I'll come to the abnormal behavior, was 23, gentleman. So yeah, Homa not inside the Kutee. Let me take a screenshot. Otherwise, I may not. 1 second, please. Abnormal behavior. I'll take that. I made it very clear that I'm not going to speak one word of theory and speak only things that may not be that easily available. Can you, because I have to take the website which, 1 second. I hope nobody types anything so that I can quickly take. Can you just halt from making any more comments for few seconds or minutes so that I can take the photo and prepare it for my next, I don't know where, PowerPoint. Then it is easy for me. I don't know how to take it up. The last one. Okay, 1 second. I'll just go up. I think I'll keep on answering from that. Okay, this is easy. Let me. So abnormal behavior, patients do have it. So I've answered. Some may feel very upset about their hair. Some old wounds would open up in their mind. A lot of scars develop. So many things are there that are possible. Always. Patient may really behave abnormal. Very, very, very high chance. Very high chance. I think I'm just scrolling to answer everyone. I want to make sure that everyone who have made this. Dear organizers, can you please request the audience not to type anymore? Otherwise, I would lose the flow of the seniority of the questions. Madam, can you please request?
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
I have all the time for you. No limits from my side. But I won't be able to justify those who commented. Why no reading? Because you are trying to give a sensory rest. No, it's kind of a sensory inhibition.
Sir, no problem. We will ask question. We will read this chat box and we will ask.
Okay. Yeah, then okay. That is more easy to me.
Oh, okay. Shama, please. Shama.
Actually, ma'am, I can keep on going.
No, sir.
Whatever is the method that suits you, absolutely easy.
Okay, sir. Arunima, please read the questions.
Somebody asked me, is it a hallucinations? The only thing you can do is to keep chanting mantras or any of your prayers of your religion or whatever. I haven't found complications happening yet, but as you saw a gentleman sending his report that his libido has decreased. I don't know if it's a complication, but it may not be welcome for everyone, no? Chronic diseases get cured. I mean, they always get better. Yeah, the sunlight thing, I had no problem. It was normal before getting in and after coming out. That was complicated. Somebody is ready to answer a question. Or doctor, before somebody is asking, Dr. Falguni Thakkar, I think you had asked for the cost. So what happens is, normally it is 5,000 rupees per day for the normal means the patients who come here per day. So it becomes like 35,000 for the Kutee per se, because we encourage Ayurvedic doctors to do their own panchakarma in their home because they can do it everything there. And then the infrastructure, everything, logistics here, it ends up like 35,000 for a week. This is what happens. I'm seriously considering if there are people, youngsters who are serious with it, we may just do it for 3,000 a day. And you know very well, even a simple hotel somewhere, a decent hotel in a major city would be like more than 3,000 rupees per day. So I'm thinking to even de-escalate the price after convincing the directors of this place, so that we have more youngsters, or not necessarily youngsters, more Ayurvedic people doing it. So if we can have more people do it on themselves, and no, it's very fantastic. So Dr. Saab, if you have any clarifications, of course, the email ID is there, or you have my phone number too. This is not only for Dr. Falguni Thakur, it's for every one of you. The phone number is for every one of you.
Okay, okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, that becomes easier. And minimum days, I would say 7. And it would be nice to have it 14 days. Ramya Linesh.
Okay, sir. Sir, may I ask one question?
Yes, please, always.
Yes, sir, Dr. Falguni here. Just want to ask if before Kutee praveshika, I have to do anything preparation, matlab for mind stable?
Absolutely. The Snehapan, full-fledged Snehapan, Achapan is very important, followed by the Siraved, preferably. Very, very important. Very important.
Okay, and or in Kutee praveshik period, what panchkarmas can you do there?
Actually, during the Kutee praveshika, we don't have a panchakarma inside. It's only the, you are having the Rasayana that is suitable to you. If you don't have a major trouble or whatever reasons, Chanaprash and Brahma Rasayana are more easy to accept. And they are going well with most of the people easily. So that way, it is very specific to your requirement. Some may go for Shatavari, but then no, Brahma Rasayana is the biggest.
Okay. Thank you. Matlab before we need ki Rakta Mokshan and Snehan.
Sanghridaya clearly mentions the Sruta Raktasya.
Okay.
Yeah. Before I forget,
Okay.
Dr. Monica had asked, is it a spiritual level empowerment or like that? I think I've already answered that in the PowerPoint that was already prepared. It's not just a physical process for me or most of the people who have done it.
Okay, sir.
Dr. How many times KPR can be done? Well, I've done twice. There are people who may do more, but I think that's totally a call that you have. The call, inner calling, if you may call it that way. And the effect of KPR, I have already shared in my case. It was not in the PowerPoint, but I shared that it lasted 4 years for me in a very significant manner. Still there, I don't deny that, but not that 100%. Like after KPR, I was like bang, 9:30 off to sleep. At 3:30, I'm up. By 4, I start my physical exercises. By 5, I'm done 1 hour exercise. Paka ready. I'm ready for the day by 5 o'clock in the morning. Full Josh, full alertness for 4 years. But then I overworked more than 5,000 hours. So, well, that was my need. That was my situation. Then you becomes like dingy dangy. 3:30 becomes like 4 o'clock, and you just feel like kicking yourself for being up at 4. This 4 becomes then 4:30, and then some days you're terribly late getting up at 5. So these things happen after 4 years. It starts to deteriorate. But then it's okay. We can always get back to that. Some medicines that continue their medicines when they're inside, of course, yes, they need to. Otherwise, if there's any complication, they will blame to us. Monitoring vitals, yes, our place. In my case, it was not done. I was okay with myself. But with other patients, we ask them. But then there are also situations where the patient doesn't want to see anyone. That's the biggest challenge. So how can you do that? Food and restrictions, 4 o'clock, somebody, Dr. Ramya Linesh had asked. That is vegetarianism, as that's there in the PowerPoint anyway. Vegetarianism has the most. How much space one would need to build a kuti? Otherwise, I don't know how to say that, but the video in the website, you have very clearly, you'll see the outer periphery, everything. You don't need more than, to say so, you don't need even 5 cents of land. No, I don't know how to say it in Hindi, the 5 cent and 5 cent, like you don't need more than that. But then you want to make sure that it's an area that is not much crowded or noisy. That's always important. And the concept of droni, I have not done, so I have nothing to say. Dr. Shahna Shireen, I have not done that. So There are many things we have missing links, so I don't know how to figure that out. But I thought at least we should do what is available in our resources. Counseling during that time, tricky question. Why I say tricky is that many of the patients inside, they don't like to see anyone. I've had patients, they say, doctor, if there's something, I will let you know. I don't want to deal with anyone. Let the person bring the medicine and go back silently. So they are all strong there. They have their own spiritual exercises or whatever things they want to do. They're into it. And well, typically it is good to have only Rasayana Dr. Vasavi. Before the Dr. Nilambika Chola. There is the need to counseling. Yeah, I have answered that. Dr. Vasavi, are we supposed to consume? Preferably, yes. I did both times. I did that. But then you start to check your biceps and your thighs and quadriceps, I mean, and such, and your calf, and then you feel that are you losing your muscle? So it's just nice to have anyway Krita and Amalaki and Cherubayar, Mudga. They are anyway supposed to be daily food, so that is easily usable. And sometimes the patient says, doctor, at least give me one normal time food and I will wait for that evening normal food so that I can complete the day. So those things, you better make a small compromise and keep that enthusiasm, the josh alive in that patient. Actually, I'm very happy. These are the questions that I really wanted to discuss with. I did not want to speak one word of theory, and I'm glad these questions are coming. Dr. Arya Devaki VN. I know most of you are not doctors, but that doesn't matter. You'll be soon that anyway. So what time of sleep inside? Actually, daytime sleep indicated there. If you're very tired, yes. Time, day, yeah, you will know it anyway, because you know that at a certain time somebody is coming with the Rasayana, or maybe the doctor is visiting you inside the Kutee. So you will know it anyway, rough estimate. And that because you still have the sound, some sound coming from outside, and it's not a foolproof, soundproof building, not the case. You really go nuts, actually. And the time of sleep inside, actually, no, don't fight with your body. Whatever. When I got in first time, maybe I was overworked. I was sleeping nearly 11 hours a day. So now I need 6 hours is okay for me. I mean, when I got into the Kutee, but not when I was outside before getting in. So pre-Kutee time, I was like 8 hours, sometimes even 9. So it came down to 6. So it means the body has so much of reserve. Recon counseling, I hope I answered you that correct. Day sleep, yeah, if you're very tired, obviously, yes. How many days gap needed after doing 1 to second one? Shodhana, you may have meant. In my case, I did not have that luxury to wait, because in the government sector where I was working, Prakriti of the disease, I'll come to that later, Dr. Gopika. In the government sector where I was working, I mean, if I'm out of that place for more than 90 days, then it would change my posting. I'll be transferred to somewhere else. So I had no option. And that location was very convenient to me. It was just 2 kilometers from my home. So I would never risk losing my posting and being sent somewhere many, many kilometers and hours away in the same district though. So for that reason, I did not wait. If I felt fine, a day or two, next Nepal. That's the way I went. And all details are there in the article in the website. Gap needed. Heard something, the Rasayana is determined based on Prakriti. I don't think so. Unless you have some allergy to a certain drug or something of that nature, because you always test dose it. I think it is pretty much what I would call as the specific disease that matters than the Prakriti. Of course, you don't want to try Bhalataka on somebody with Pitta Prakriti nature, no? How to determine the treatment for Swastha? I didn't understand that. Do you mean which kind of a medicine can be had? If that's the case, the safest is Brahma Rasayana. It will just cover up multiple things. Contraindications which are common for Kutee. Mental instability is the biggest contraindication. And that's how it comes. I think, ma'am, did I answer all the questions? I hope so. Did I answer all the questions?
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Now I request Nambi sir to present a e-certificate to Sreejit sir. Nambi sir.
Thank you, Sreejit sir. It was really very inspirational, and what I say, it is really Rasayana to all of us. Labho Payo Hishasthanam Rasayanam. So on behalf of Ashtangam, now everything is happening in online. So on behalf of Ashtangam, we would like to give you an online and virtual certificate for showing our deep gratitude for your wonderful presentation and inspiring all the members of this Chikitsasiddhi. Also, I really appreciate all the participants, especially the students from Ashtangam as well as from different part of the state and also from outside Kerala. Because when we started with the Chikitsasiddhi, we are overwhelmed with people's request to see the eminent speakers and sharing wonderful ideas. And I request all the students especially to see the agnivesh.info like Dr. Sreejit sir was doing. It is wonderful, you know, he has enormous information from multiple generations of the people like Shankaran sir, like Dr. K. Rajagopal sir, almost every legendary people in this country he met, he interacted, he collected the information. Now like CP Matthew sir, like he was such a, he's like a huge Ayur Wikipedia, such an enormous information he has. And so kindly make use of him and his databases for expanding your wisdom and knowledge. Thank you, Sreejit sir, on behalf of Ashtangam. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh. Close ചെയ്യാൻ അവർ ക്ലോസ് ചെയ്തോളല്ലോ, അവരായിട്ട് ക്ലോസ് ചെയ്യുമല്ലോ.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Now we end our Chikitsasiddhi session. In the end, I would like to thank all who participated here, and it is my immense pleasure to express my vote of thanks to all who participated here and presented here. First of all, I would like to extend my thanks to Dr. Sreejit sir for his today's presentation, which was a mind-provoking. Thank you, sir. Thank you on behalf of Department of Kayachikitsa and Ashtangam, and those participants participated in this Chikitsasiddhi session for the last 6 days. I am very grateful to express my thanks to all the participants and all my dear students. Without them, nothing possible for us to conduct such an seminar. So thank you all very much.